Two really, really, really ridiculously, obscenely simple goals. Understand what common backup problems there are, and let's not do them, okay? Right? I mean, it's just, this is the low-hanging fruit. This is the simple stuff. This is the things that you should be able to avoid. Here's the agenda. Memorize it. And we're done. I put up my contact information again. You know, I mean, I realized I was chatting before. I told you guys what I did for work in the past. Nobody cares, right? What you care about is being able to get answers to your questions. Please use my contact information. I work for Redgate. I'm here to help. Anything and everything. If I can't tell you the answer, I'll say I don't know the answer, but I'll try to find somebody who can answer it. Okay? Anything. This is a bad day for the DBA. That's what they look like. I would just hate to be there because the data loss is going to be insane, right? It's just going to be nuts. And I'm not even talking about the guys that are directly under it. Their worries are over, right? I'm talking about the people out here in the splash zone. Because these guys over here, they're going to lose power. Probably for a long time. They may never see sunlight ever again. But they're going to lose data, right? Almost guaranteed they're going to lose data. And what's the fundamental point on any kind of disaster recovery plan? Backups. You have to have backups. Yes, high availability. Yeah, absolutely. Mirroring, always on, availability groups, failover clusters, replication, merge replication. Oh, I forget who I was talking to, wherever he is. Oh my God. Horror stories. But yeah, you need that stuff, but you've got to start with backups. Backups are the most important part. And here's the best bit about backups. How useful is a backup? Anybody? Fire it off. Yes? Yeah, it's absolutely correct, 100%. Thank you very much. I'll give him his money later. It's completely useless unless you can restore it. Your backups are no good. Backups are a waste of time. Yeah, I said it. I went there. Backups are a waste of time. Restores, however, are wicked cool, right? You have to do the backup first. You know, I mean, it's a chicken and egg kind of situation. You're not going to get the chicken unless you've got the egg, so you've got to do a backup. But in order to have anything useful there, a backup is nothing but a file. You've got to be able to do restore. And this is all fundamental part of disaster recovery. So let's talk about what a SQL Server backup is and is not, okay? SQL Server is not a SQL Server backup. And note, we are not talking backpack. Everybody familiar with backpack? Okay, who's not familiar with backpack? Excellent. Okay, real quick overview of backpack, and then we'll detail what backup is. Backpack is this new mechanism that Microsoft has. It works inside of on-premises SQL Server, but it was specifically designed for the Azure SQL database. And what it does is it exports a DAC pack, which is your schema, and then it does an export of data. Now notice, what's not mentioned there is anything considering transactional consistency, any sort of locking mechanisms, any insurance that the data that it exports is accurate, and that any of that data could actually be restored. There is no assurance that way. None. Zero. Yeah? He's laughing. What? Yeah. There's no assurance that you can restore that. So a backpack is sort of an iffy proposition. There's ways you want to use it if you were actually going to do that kind of method, but we're not going to sweat it. It's something to be avoided. We're going to do a backup. Dun, dun, dun. And backups are really cool. Here's a few bits that it's not. It is not a script. It is not an export. Can't begin to tell you the number of times I've had calls from the QA team, the staging people when we were setting up, for a deployment from various when I've, oh my God, everything's lost, restore production. And you get the word, oh, that your restore, you missed the stored procedure. No, I didn't. This is not an import-export. This is not a script. This is a page-by-page copy of the database. If that backup is accurate, the restore is accurate, we're done. It's a page-by-page copy, right? So it is completely not possible. Oh, you missed a row. No. The backup may have been taken before that row was added, possible. But if that row was there when that backup was taken, it was there when I restored it, because it is a page-by-page copy. And that page-by-page copy is transactionally consistent. It puts a marker. When it starts a backup, it puts a marker at inside the transaction log. Transactions are going on while the backup is going on. When the backup gets to the end of its process, it says, okay, stop here, pop. Copy the transaction log that's covered between those two markers down to the backup file. Any open transactions, I will roll back when I run the restore. Any committed transactions, I will then commit as the part of the restore process. That's the last part of a restore process, and it's called a recovery. And it's that last little bit of the restore. Okay, everybody with me? Excellent. So a backup is a complete copy of the database. No other possibility, and it's transactionally consistent. And there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can run backup. You can run full, differential, file group, partial, log, what? I'll talk about copy only. Copy only. But today we're going to concentrate on three. Full, differential, and log. The full backup we've already explained, page-by-page copy of the entire database. Differential, page-by-page copy of each page that has been touched since the last full backup. Keyword and tricky phrase that you should have imprinted inside your eyelids. Okay? If you can't remember it, it'll be there every time you blink. Last full backup. And I'll tell you a story in a little bit, why that's such a creepy phrase. Log backups are simple. It's a backup of the transaction log. Again, page by page, right? Full, complete copies, right? Never, ever, ever is it copying bits and pieces and chunks and little things. New, full and complete, page by page, low level, at the operating system, copy. Yay. Everybody on board with that? Because if we're not happy with that moment, the rest is going to make no sense at all. Cool. All right, so let's talk about our first problem. I don't run into this one as much anymore, frankly, and it's great that I don't. So a database, it consists of, believe it or not, files, right? Simplest possible database has two files, data and a log. Sysadmins, bless their hearts, will set up some backup, backup exec or some other process. And what do they back up? Well, they back up files. And so they look at SQL Server, and from their point of view, there's some files, backup and log, or data and log. I will back those up. Cool. Little problem. Two things. One, who's had this phone call from their sysadmin? You know those data file things? They keep getting locked when I'm trying to run backups. So what I did was I changed the thing so it would unlock them automatically so I could copy them over. You did what? When did it run? When did it run? Oh, I haven't run it. Oh my God. Oh geez. Okay. Breathe. All right. I'm going to come over there and hurt you and then take away your rights to touch my databases. Or you get the thing where they figure out, oh, well, it's always locked, but I've got a mechanism that allows me to go through behind the lock and copy that file. Great. Cool. Who's doing that kind of backup today? Anybody? Because if you are, this is a run out of the room moment. Okay, cool, good. Well, then that's good news, because I'm running into that less and less. It seems like finally people have heard the message. If you do that, you know what's happening? You're copying the file. Cool. That is transactionally inconsistent. So when you then go to, quote, restore that database, Assuming you're able to connect that database, because you will have to do an attach. You can't actually run a restore process. You will have to run an attach from those two files. Assuming it successfully attaches, you've got a high probability that you've got a corrupt database. That you've missed pages, misappropriated pages, caused bits and pieces of rows to be partly there and partly not. Oh, yay, right? Because DBCC, repair DB allow data loss, that works great, right? Nobody's laughing. That's not good. That process can, SQL Server put it, Microsoft put it inside the documentation, may lead to some data loss. True. Some is a funky measure. Some, as in a page, which, how big's a page? 8K, cool. How many rows is that? Some. Several, right? More than 5, probably, depending on your data. So you could lose some number of rows. Cool. That's if you only lose one page. How many pages could you lose? All. Repair out loud data loss could look at it and go, well, I got the first page, and I've got the last page. Fixed. Anybody run into that one? I have. It's a bad, bad morning. So, don't do this. Simple thing to avoid, right? Run actual backups. Yes? Anybody run into this one? Logs all the time, usually. People are running log backups, log backups, log backups. Or no, I'm sorry, well, it's usually the log fills the drive. That's a totally different issue. We'll talk about that in a minute, too. Drive space. Nobody's paying attention. Suddenly you start getting, assuming you have monitoring in place, you start getting errors in your backups. I don't know why. Backups are erroring out every night. Weird. Maybe you want to read the error log. Because what you've done is that you're backing up, maybe you've not set up your backups appropriately, and so you're backing up and you're not replacing the file even though you think you are, and you just keep adding a new backup to the stack, and the drive fills up. Yay. How do you avoid this? Good God, don't do it. Right? Monitoring should be in place so you can keep track of space on your drives. You have to have that in place. You've also got to be able to know when your database size increases. If you're looking at some sort of data load process, some sort of regional time-based process in which is going to cause massive data increases, your backups are also going to get bigger, right? So you've got to plan for these things and take it into account. So if you monitor your drive space, clean up your backups, make sure you don't have them laying around, and monitor your database size. If your backup has failed, if you've gotten the error, oh geez, I ran out of space, it didn't back up. What do you do in an emergency? It's an RGE. Who knows what that is? Of course you do. Say it loud.
Resume generating event.
It's a resume generating event. Right? Time to go polish it up. Because if you've run out of drive space and you need to do a restore, there is nothing to restore. Yay. Have a good day. Thank you. Good night. Right? What if we just, I don't know, let's just take a look at this real quick. Someplace in here. There it is. This is Redgate Backup. Just find a server someplace. Should be one. Hey, look at that. Now, the simple backup system, it's great, it's nice, it sets things up, it's good. I'm going to go through it several times here today and walk you through bits and pieces of it just to show you that you can avoid some of the common errors. But the most common error that you want to avoid is that problem with the full backup. And if you'll notice, there's nothing in here that says, hey, by the way, if you get a full drive, we'll do X, Y, or Z. See, I'm coming around here. I didn't say Z. Anyway, moving on. You're welcome. You're not going to get that kind of an alert from here. That's a secondary alert that must be set up someplace else. I just want to point that out because we're going to walk through a bunch of places where these things can help, but everything doesn't help everywhere. Nice, sweet, wonderful tools don't do everything for you. You're going to have to do other things. Oh, by the way, yeah, we do sell another product that monitors drive space. Okay. Oops, can't do that. Who wants to do Azure again? Sorry. All right, any questions on drive space? That's a simple one again. Full transaction log. This is my favorite. Who here hangs out on the boards? Ask SSC, SQL Server Central. Raise them, keep them raised. MSDN. What's the #1 question? Gee, I don't know what's going on. My transaction log is full, and my drive is full. And I'm getting errors now because no one can actually insert data. I don't know what to do. I keep trying shrink database. And I've run a full backup last March. Oh God. By default, SQL Server has a recovery model. What is it? Full. What's that mean? A full recovery model means you must back up your transaction logs. Backing up your full database with a full backup does, in fact, back up the transaction log, but it doesn't mark the transaction log as backed up. It just says, oh, you've got a transaction log. Let me have a copy of that. And keeps going, because it uses it for the recovery process. But it doesn't do anything to your log at all. For anyone who didn't, for anyone who just went, really? Time to run out of the room. Because what you must run is a separate transaction log backup. You've got to run a transaction log backup. That marks the transaction log. All committed transactions then, at the next checkpoint, are tossed. And the space that you've used to fill up your entire drive is reclaimed. Well, by SQL Server, not by the OS, you are now going to have to shrink your transaction log. Who here thinks shrinking transaction logs is like a sin, right there on par with, I don't know, pick your favorite sin that I'm not going to go into. Yes? You think so? Anybody else? Yes? Yeah, see, I like his answer. It's not that big a deal. Shrinking transaction log is not that big a deal. Why? Because transaction logs get rebuilt. The log itself gets rebuilt. When you start SQL Server, it will rebuild the transaction log. So even if it's defragged, if it's fragmented, it'll go away next time you reboot. Now you may only reboot once a year. By the way, reboot once a year. I know you don't need to, but you should anyway for one reason only. The hardware actually can have failures internal that are only exposed during a restart. So just so you know, it's a very good practice to restart your servers once a year. More often? Yeah. Oh, well, okay. It's like saying, it has to be more often because if it's not, you haven't been applying security patches. You win. He's right. Okay, so you need to make sure when you see these things where these log files are constantly growing and never stopping to grow, and you're getting errors because you can't do any more transactions, you have to do a log backup. You've either done one of two things. Your log backups have failed and you don't have monitoring in place, or you never set it up. Or you have replication and replication has failed. Oh, God, that hurts every time. Whoops. Hang on, sorry. Something happened to my screen. I've got to fix it. There we go. So, what do you do in an emergency? You're stuck, right? This thing's filled. You can't shrink it. You may not even be able to do the log backup. Okay, you got two options. Reboot. Very popular option. By the way, if you just go like, yeah, I'm just going to reboot, and everybody goes, yeah, okay. You've got a very low-stress job. Or you can attempt, and by the way, the key word there is attempt. You can attempt to attach a second log file. Good luck. God bless. Because that is actually, a transaction. So if you have like a little K left of transaction log space, you might be able to get away with it. Okay? But otherwise, you're going to be in trouble. Let's just real quick take a look at log backups. So you'll notice I went through the whole thing, skipped stuff over. I like the way our tool works because it does two things. It's smart. I do full, you'll notice the list of databases. It's all of them. Full backup, yeah, ready to rock. Anything you want. Okay, I want a transaction log backup. Well, wait a minute. I want to back up Redgate monitor, by God. Look, I can't back up the thing. What's wrong? Oh, wait. Remove inactive. You know what that means? Those things aren't on full recovery. So I don't need to back up. Not only do I not need to, can't. Yay. Right? So if it's on simple recovery, you don't have to worry about it. So we'll pick the databases we want, movie management dev, blah, blah, blah. Single backup file or a stacked file. Which is better? Yes. Yeah, it depends on so many things. It doesn't kind of matter to me. I'm just going to do single file. Overwrite or stack things up with different names.
Because you can't be certain that you're not going to fail while you're doing the backup.
He says different names because you can't be certain you're going to fail while you're doing the backup. Anybody agree, disagree? My answer again is, like his, yes. I'm okay either way. If it fails during the backup, I'll start another backup. I mean, if we're in the situation where I'm running the backup and then the meteor hits, okay, well, you know, sue me. You know, I'll cope. But most of the time, you're going to get the backup in place. You'll be all right. Delete existing backup files. Yes. Figure out how many days you can keep. 30 is insane, I think. I mean, who here just has unlimited disk space? Yeah, I got plenty. No problem. We'll buy another SAN. Right? Clean up behind yourself. Delete prior to the start of the backup. I don't know if I'd do that one. I'm kind of with him. It's like, I've got yesterday's. Let's get today's in place before, you know. It's my own feeling, but we'll see. Copy backup into hosted storage. We'll talk about that in a minute. Copy backup to network. Let's add a little bit that Redgate's plugged in here. You can copy over to your network, and that's a copy after the backup is complete. And I like that bit because I get to finish my backup. I'm not waiting for 2 writes. I'm getting 1 write done, and then I'm doing a copy. Aces, right? It's safe. It's a safe mechanism. The naming of the files, whatever you want to name them. I don't care. Compression, yes or no? Whether or not you use Redgate. Yes. Heck yes. I'm sacrificing a little tiny bit of CPU and saving disk. 2 ways. Saving storage space, cool. Saving write time. Yay, right? That's huge. So you've got to do that. You know, what level of compression? Play with a little, you know, get the compression analyzer, which actually works really shockingly well. Every time I play, it's like, oh, this is going to be so stupid. It's going to get everything wrong. Crud, it's right. Our developers are way too smart, by the way. Just so you know. Just gets irksome. I like developers who are only as smart as I am. Checksum, verify only. Verify only on log backups? Anybody know what that is? You missed my rant at bits? Okay. Checksum, yes. Verify only for log backups? Nah, I wouldn't. Not for log backups. It's a waste of time. And it's extra work that's really not all that useful. Not for the log. For a full backup, heck yeah. Oh my God, yes. Verify only on a full backup. Please, 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 please. and you finish up and it'll run. Or you can set it up so it's scheduled to run automatically, which is probably what you really want to do. Now you'll notice, if you take a look at, oh, my history, oh, I cleaned out my history, that's good. My history is a horror show. Oh, there it is, cool. It's my laptop, guys. If my production system looked like this, 1, I should be fired, and 2, I would be doing something about it. But this is my laptop, so I don't mind that it's burning and dying in several places on a regular basis, because these are just test databases. All right, so that's log backup. Differential only. This is my favorite one. So you go to do a restore, a differential restore, and you get the error that says, really simply, oh, there's no files ready to roll forward. Or you get the error that says, I don't know what backup you think this is from, but it's not this one. Wait a minute, that's last night's backup. I had a developer, famous developer, we call him Timmy, or I shouldn't say developer, DBA. Sorry, developer, sorry. We had a DBA, we call him Timmy. So not his real name, not even close to his real name, because we don't want to throw people under the bus by name in front of 300 people. That's not cool. Timmy was famous for, oh, you know, I never remember where the backups are stored, so I just take a new one anytime I need it. Great. Because we set up a system where we're doing a weekly backup, and then a nightly differential, log backups every half hour during the day. Good system, right? You're going to do a full recovery, you'll do a differential that's growing in size but still smaller than the full recovery, and log backups to the point in time that you need to recover. Basic setup, right? It's great. Till Timmy comes along in the middle of the day and runs backup database. Backs it up, and now what he's done, differentials are what? A copy of the data of every page that's changed since the last full backup. So what he's done is now created a new full backup. And Timmy was also famous for doing this. Backup, restore, delete. Because he liked to back up to his laptop, or his desktop at the time. He'd back up to his desktop, and he didn't want to store them there. God, it's taking up space. Delete. And then we had the problem. We had an emergency. And we didn't know Timmy was doing this on a daily basis, because he never told anybody. And we hadn't had any emergencies, but we did. We finally had an emergency. We go to do the differential, and it's gone. I can't get the restore from last night's full backup. So I go to Timmy. I'm like, oh my God, do you have your full backup? Oh, no, I didn't keep it. Oh my God. So what do we get to do? Full backup from earlier and logs to the point in time. Recovery, but a lot longer than it should have been. Right? And you've got two things. You've got recovery point objective to, basically recovering to a point in time on your data, and recovery time objective, the amount of downtime you're allowed to get the recovery done. So RPO and RTO. We met our RPO, yay, because we had all the log backups. Our RTO, we got burned on, and we had a nice long conversation. Everybody's had this one, right? How can we prevent this from ever happening again? Yeah, okay, good. Ugh. So, no full restore run or the full restore run, but the differential database is different. Make sure that you do this. If you are Timmy, copy only. With copy only prevents breaking the differential chain, right? And the differential chain is a chain, okay? Oops.
That's a good rule. If you're a developer, the only backup you ever need to take.
Yeah. If you're a developer, he's right. If you're a developer, the only backup you should be taking, unless of course on your local machine, do anything you want. I like sandbox servers because two things. I want developers to learn how to do stuff, and two, I want you to burn your own house down. I've got no problem with you burning your own house down. I have a problem with you burning my house down. Okay? That's where I get upset. You burn your house down, that's a shame. You burn my house down, we have to have a conversation. Okay, it's just that simple. Actually, I kind of messed these two slides up. Differential only is when you only have a differential backup. Anybody done that one? Sorry. The backup chain is the description I just gave of Timmy. Sorry, I'm backwards. Didn't mean to do that. You can, if you're doing production deployments, we used to do backups before the production deployment and then kind of forget that they were part of our chain, the differential chain. And God bless me, I've been Timmy by accident, although we didn't have an emergency right after, thank God. But if you're doing backups as part of your deployment process, I would really strongly suggest you do a snapshot, which does not interfere with the differential chain. Okay? So snapshots are a good one to have. And then if you are in an emergency, in this case, the only place to go is log backups. And boy, I hope you have those log backups handy. All right? Does restore from backup from snapshot mess up the differential chain? No, it doesn't. Oh, well, it will. Now, restoring from snapshot does mess with transaction logs. But that's okay, because transaction logs, you just take a new transaction log and you're good to go. Transaction log backup, sorry, not a new transaction log. That would be problematic. A new transaction log backup. All right, this is another one that Timmy did. Timmy was famous for this one. I mean, literally famous, because Timmy did this. Timmy was doing lots and lots of restores for the QA team, and the QA team was notorious. The QA team would call us up. We need a restore right now. You must get us a restore immediately. We've got to have a restore. Okay, cool. Timmy would go to do the restore, and the QA team is still logged onto the server. It's just frustrating as heck. You call them back up. You guys have to log. You want the restore done now, right? Yeah, right now. Okay, log off. Oh, yeah, well, Jim went to lunch, and Sue is... Crap. Okay, fine. You know, you start killing connections. Well, Timmy's like short-circuited that whole process because he was supporting the QA team a lot. And what he did was he set up his database script to do the restore, but he put in there, set to restricted user with rollback immediate. One person's giggling. Okay, that means that everyone doesn't know what that means. Set the restricted user says, well, let's take the database. Instead of letting everyone in, we're going to set it to so it's a DBO or SA only first. And all open transactions will be rolled back. And all other connections will be killed. Cool. Solve the QA problem. And he's running it all the time on QA. Rollback immediate, restore database. Rollback immediate, restore database. And then one day, rollback immediate, restore database, he did it to production. And I mean, it was like, you hear, oops, and the phone ring. I mean, it was that quick. So the indications here, the phone is ringing, right? You suddenly realize, oops, and the phone rings. If you run restore in this situation, you're just in trouble. Here's my suggestion. Production should have a different login than all of your other systems. One login for production, another login for everything else. Just like that. Just that alone differentiates enough so that you're not, if you're just SA, I'm just SA from production from dev to production and everything in between. One SSMS window, 57 different scripts. How easy is it to screw that up? Sir, you had a question. Right. What would you do? She says he's in the situation where you have domain logins, not SA, not SQL logins. Same thing. And in fact, that's what we did immediately after Timmy did his little brouhaha, is we went in there and said, okay, remember the security guys were saying that we needed to do this? Yeah, let's actually do it. You know, you live and learn. Sir? Have SQL boxes on completely separate domains. I've never done that before. Not for my main, I mean, I've worked on SQL boxes on different domains, but no, I've never done that before, but that's actually a good idea too. I hadn't thought about that one. It adds some wrinkles, doesn't it? I mean, there's like an extra hop or something, and That's interesting, though. That's a good approach. Everybody understood what he said? Or what I repeated that he said? Huh? Yeah, you can try putting them in the DMZ and prevent the logins, but I mean, it's like, I'm not trying to log in, I'm not trying to VPN into it, I'm just connecting up to the IP address. I'm using SSMS, boom, 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 right? Another option is you can look at Mladen Predic has this really cool tool that will color your tabs. Color all the production tabs one color and dev color another color. SSMS tool. Well, isn't that Mladen's? Yeah, that's Mladen Predic's SSMS tools. Thanks. Redgate does have a product, Tab Magic. Honestly, and I work for them. Okay, it works, but it's not exciting. Anything that you can do to make it so you don't accidentally restore over production, because that's just unforgivable. Well, okay, Timmy didn't get fired, which created more Timmy stories. You want to see Timmy in development. Timmy does some cool stuff there too. And so in an emergency, yes, this is an emergency. You're going to have a fun day, and then several following days while you have those fun meetings again where you get to discuss how this will never happen again. All right, backup load. So backup's free, right? No load at all. Heck no. What's it doing? It's reading every single page on the system. Is there any locking involved? It locks each page as it reads it. So, you're on a systems collecting a couple thousand transactions a minute, 3 p.m. on a work day, you're going to run full backup, right? Nothing will go wrong. You're seeing excessive CPU or I/O contention while running backups. You're getting weights, literal weights on backups. You're seeing your weight stats radically jump up on backup processes. You're seeing blocking. You're literally seeing blocked processes that are sitting there, yeah, you know, I'd love to work with the database, but I'm waiting on the backup. You've got backup load problems, okay? You've got issues there. You're going to have to work on that. Backup is an extremely efficient, wicked cool, absolutely essential process. You're going to run it. Run it on the lowest possible transaction time, because it will cause contention. Not automatically, not every time, not all the time, and maybe not on your systems at all. And if so, great. Run your backups whenever you want. Just make sure you're not breaking differential chains and all that fun stuff. But you got to be careful. You're going to run into issues. A couple of issues, some remedies you can do, and it's limited. You can do some of your backups from always on. If you're in an always on availability group, you could do a backup from the other server if you're doing full backups. Recovery can become problematic there, right? Because log recovery will not allow you to do point-in-time recovery, not from a full backup from one of those systems, because you have to do a copy-only backup there, and that copy-only backup can't be applied to a point-in-time recovery, because it's not part of the transaction log system, right? Tony? I was going to say, nod your head. He wrote the book on the transaction log, so it's nice having him here. I can make sure I ask. So that's one mechanism you can do, offloading the backups to another server. But other than that, there's just not how much you can do. You need to do these during low load times. There we go. Any questions so far? Yes. So I got the part, they're doing differentials through the week. If you do a full at midweek.
Is there a way to lock that down to the user so only one user can do the full?
Oh, is there a way to lock it down so only one user can actually do the full backup? I'm sure there is, but I don't know one. Would be my best answer. I mean, you know, just take away their privileges. We did that to Timmy for a week till he whined. Yes.
To answer his question, you could have it running as a job and then only one user actually has the naming rights.
There you go. Have it run as a job and only one person has rights to the job. In other words, no one can run backups, but there's this job that you can execute. That's possible. That's not a bad idea. Sir?
Do the pages that get backed up, do they go into the buffer pool first? Or is it just...
Wow, that's a good question. Everybody knows what the difference between a good and a great question is? Good question, I don't know the answer to. Great question's on the next slide. That's a good question. I'm sorry, I don't know. What he asked was, do the pages go first into the buffer pool? And I'm not sure. On a guess, yes. But that's a guess, boy. You could tweet that. Grant just guessed. And Paul's in town, so he'll come running over here to correct me. Paul Randall, for those who don't know, knows way more about this stuff than he ought to, really. No one, okay, that was a joke. Another bad joke. Gosh, I got to stop this. All right, next problem. Speaking of Paul Randall, his wife, Kimberly Tripp, has a very famous quote, and it's something we started off with. You're only as good as your last restore. So, if you are not testing your backups, if you are not running DBCC against production, or at least DBCC physical only against production, and you are not running DBCC, if you're going to run DBCC physical only on production, then you've got to run a full DBCC on a restored database. If you're not running DBCC, if you're not running checksum, if you're not running verify only, you are absolutely operating without a net. You are taking backups, but you've got no mechanism in place to verify that those backups are good. And you need all of those mechanisms. You must have consistency checks, 1 minute. You must have consistency checks. You must have checksum, which is going to validate that the page that gets read is the page that gets written. It must go through the buffer pool. It must go through the buffer pool because it's doing, if you do the checksum, it validates it on the way. It has to. Anyway, sorry. And if you're not doing verify only, then you've got no way of checking that the header itself on the backup and the checksum values that are written are accurate. You must do all of those. But even if you are doing all of those, the only way you can be sure that the backup you have will work is to run a restore. It's the only sure way, because even if you've got all those, there are still bits and pieces of the header that can get corrupted that will prevent a restore from occurring. And the only way to know that those bits and pieces are okay is to run that restore process. No other options. Your question? Okay.
The other one is if your manager came to you and said you test restore, so what's our test restore schedule?
Right.
And my colleague said, well, we've got log shipping, so we're testing them all the time. Is that... Take that as no.
Okay, he said that we have log shipping, so we're testing our restores all the time. No, because you only test one restore in log shipping. You test the full restore once, and then you test logs over and over again. So are your logs good? Yeah, your logs are good because you're copying your logs over and restoring them. So your log backups are tested. When's the last time you ran the full backup? You run those once a week, once a day? But you know, whatever. I mean, just whatever the schedule is. But those don't get tested as part of a log shipping process. Yeah. So in terms, right. So in terms of disaster recovery, is log shipping a fundamental aspect of disaster recovery? Yes. Yes, it is. Is it enough? No, it's not. You've got to still have a backup. Because I've seen because also log shipping, if you have corruption, it'll ship just fine. Well, no, you can't do DBCC on log shipping because log shipping doesn't allow you to, doesn't allow reads while it's there.
It doesn't standby.
Oh, okay. Yeah, while it's in standby. Okay, sorry.
Then you're stopping all your,
I always forget these bits.
then you're stopping all your restores.
Right.
You do your backup and you copy it across the network to another machine, and then you restore it on that other machine.
Yes.
And then you DBCC on
Yes.
that second machine.
On that second machine.
Is that adequate to cover off doing DBCC in production?
Okay. Let me answer that. What he said was, you do a backup. You copy it to another machine. You do a restore. Then you run a full DBCC against that second machine, that copied database. Is that enough for production? No, but almost. What you still need on production is a check on the physical file distribution. And so that's when you run DBCC physical only. You run DBCC physical only on production, a full DBCC on the other machines. You completely offload your full DBCC checks. You do the most lightest, most direct physical only check. It's a great way to go if you've got disk space to do it, right? If you've got a 5 terabyte database, good luck, right? Because just because the restore process on a 5 terabyte database is not going to be quick. Right, or if you've got always on availability groups, you can run the DBCC on the secondary machines. Right, that's cool. Oh, the read secondary machines anyway. Or Redgate has this really cool thing called schedule restore jobs, because I scream and yell about this constantly, and there's actually video of me screaming and yelling. I scream and yell about this concept of testing your backups on a regular basis. They actually went out and built a tool for it, and it's built into the Redgate tool, and you can schedule a set of restores to occur on either on the same server to a different name or on different servers. So let's see if we can find a backup. There we go. Specific backup files. Give me a second. God, it's taking its time. Oh, it's me. I'm not clicking right. There we go. Add files. We'll go to the backup folder. Oh, maybe it's not there. Well, that's good. Okay, well, let's do this. Watch this. Ha ha ha. I'll cheat. I don't mind cheating. We're going to connect up to a database. My local server. You can't run backup against Azure, so we're not going to do that. That would be funny and weird and not work at all. And so now we'll do this. Never type during demos. Backup, database, oh, wait. We'll do movie management because it's not very big. To disk equals C colon backup backslash with an it, just in case there's one there. Done. Cool. Come on, refresh. Oh, right. Thank you. That's why I wasn't seeing anything the first time. Thanks for pointing that out. Yes, I have a few backups there. I'm thinking, like, what the heck? I know I've got backups in there. Oh, that's a bad one. Hang on. What a loser, huh? Some days, right? Oh, does it?
What kind of rubbish software is that?
I'm not going to argue with you right now. As I flail desperately up here. Hang on. C colon backslash backup backslash my backup. Well, at least now you get to see how the backup runs. Watch it fail. That would be just my luck. However, it's not today. Cool. All right. We're not going to go there. We're going to go here. We're going to add a file. This is ridiculously taking too long. Sorry about that, guys. Yay. All right. So at this point, this is the cool part. You can now decide, am I going to overwrite the existing database? Am I going to change the destination server? Am I going to create new databases? I'm just going to create a new database in this case, just so we can see it occur. Do I want to overwrite on subsequent restores? Yeah, maybe. Or do I want to kill any connections before connecting to this database? Yeah. Wait, Timmy, no, I don't want to do that. Right? It's nice to have, it's cool, if you, but oh God. So. It's going to set up the files, it's going to move everything around. I can then start putting in, do I want logical checks only, physical only? No, I don't want that. I want the full DBCC to run. But I can modify it so it gets other stuff. And I can drop the database following the restore on success, right? Or always. I can do it with recovery. I can do it with standby. I can check for orphan users. I can do everything I need to do and include creating a schedule so that the restores are happening on the schedule I want them to happen on. They can happen the next day, immediately after, however you want to work it out. It's a great way to test your databases because it does a full restore, and it's the only way to get a full test on your database, okay? Everybody all right with that? Cool. I'm not going to do it right now just because I've already wasted your time fumbling around like an idiot. Okay, cool. That's backup testing. Here's the other bit that you should be doing in terms of making sure that you're not running into issues. Remember that Meteor thing coming in? What if you had, I don't know, a copy at home, or a copy of your database in Iron Mountain, or a copy on another disk, or even a copy in the cloud, right? A copy, not the original. Don't want to backing up to the cloud straight, backing up to offsite storage straight. Couple of issues there. Bandwidth, time relating directly back to load, blocking, and all those issues. So let's do the backup local, quick, fast. Get it out the heck out of the way, and then let's copy to some other storage location. Okay? Doesn't that make sense? Cool, I agree, and so does Redgate. Thank God. Because what we've got here is a little mechanism called offsite storage. We're going to go ahead and set up the same backup. We're going to blah, blah, blah. Oh, hang on, skip past it. Copy backup to hosted storage. Yes, that's right. You can set up the backups to go to a hosted storage situation. It's pretty easy. Let me cancel this. Go to Tools, Hosted Storage website. And you can set up your own storage directly out of Redgate, connect it up, set up your email, and back up a copy of your databases directly up to the hosted storage here. How much is free, Colin? 5 gig. So you want to try it out for a little while? 5 gig. Right? You're going, wait, my smallest database. Okay, fine. Pay for it. Test it with a small database, okay?
Can I just point out that I would only ever do that if I could encrypt the backup.
Oh, really?
But I don't want to use your free text password that you have in there.
Oh, okay.
I want to use a certificate, please.
You want to use a certificate?
Yeah.
Okay. He said he'd be willing to run it. Colin, you taking notes? Okay, good. I don't disagree with that. Although even for most people have got nothing, or they're going to do Microsoft encryption, which it's painful. CTE or anybody doing the encryption? Who's doing encryption using Microsoft? Yeah, TDE. Yeah, TDE 2. Wow. Okay. I know. I can't help you. I mean, I agree. I mean, it's just horrible. But the thing about going to an offsite storage is you can do the encryption there. Certificates would be better. You can get multiple copies. You get different servers. You get different drives. Because, you know, let's just flash back a minute. This is not the only problem we're going to run into. U.S., we had flooding recently on the East Coast this last fall. We had a whole slew of tornadoes tear through Oklahoma. You guys had a bad winter, not this one, but the last one, right? Although this one never stopped from the weather. Okay. I'm not going to argue with you. This, I mean, I like to put this up just because it's a giggle of a picture, but this isn't what we're worried about. We're worried about electricity. We're worried about all kinds of things. And so this stuff is unavoidable. You're going to hit these situations. Company I work for, we had our server room was on a hill. It was an engineering company. So server room was on a hill. It was detached from the rest of the building. I mean, completely detached. 2 firewalls, firewall on this side, firewall on this side. You know, full halon fire suppression system. A second non-water-based fire suppression system in case the halon failed. 2 generators able to run the full system completely independently. You didn't need both to run it. Either one could have run it. Backup generator in case one of the generators fails. 4 diesel storage tanks in case one of the diesel storage tanks on either generator was to fail. There would be a second diesel storage tank to be able to run the thing for 5 days without being refilled. So 20 days worth of diesel. You know, it's like, all right, this is great. We're going to survive the apocalypse in here. We just get some guns. We're set. And guess what? Somebody kicked the plug out on the SAN inside the server. And we started going through disaster recovery because we got corrupted databases and we had to do restores and oh my God. You know, and then we're cracking jokes. Can we put 2 plugs on the SAN? I didn't even know it was that easy to kick the plug out. You just don't know, right? So hopefully we hit the goals. Hopefully you had a little bit of fun because this is a dry topic and I try to inject a little bit of humor but it's so important. I'm such an advocate for backups and restores. I really am. I've been burned. You know what I mean? I've got pain. I've got scar tissues, right? I've screwed things up. I've watched other people screw things up. I've had people kick the SAN out. And backups and restores have saved my bottom so many times when things like mirroring, you know, and all these other stuff can still fail, right? So you just got to have these things in place. And by the way, when they kicked the SAN out, we had mirroring set up, and it did keep us alive, but we still had problems because, anyway, it was a nightmare. I love backups and restores. I really do. I love restores, actually. Backups are just what I need to do to get there. All right, so resources. ScaryDBA.com/backup should have this slide deck and a bunch of other stuff. Transaction log management by Tony Davis, and who's going to be here a little bit later today, Gail Shaw. Great book. Preventable backup errors, there's a nice article, Backup and Restore for the Accidental DBA, and SQL Server Backups, all simple talk articles. They're all available to you, and we got 3 minutes to kill. Oh wait, the thing just buzzed. 2 minutes to kill. Any questions? Oh, sorry. All you need is that. Everything else is here. But I just put it up there so you can... Sir?
You explained the situation with recovery, where it will roll back and roll forward.
Yes.
So with no recovery, what are you left with?
With what? Or with no recovery, what are you left with? Okay, cool. A good question, because I didn't cover log restores that much in this. That's a good question. He says, so if you don't do recovery, what are you left with? You're basically left with the copy of all the pages And no transactions committed or rolled back. It's waiting to do that until you tell it to recover or until you apply either a differential or logs, in which case it will then apply all the committed transactions from the differential and or the logs, and then stop until the open ones are you know, the ones that have to be rolled back or whatever, until you tell it to recover. Now Steve, he's not in the room, Steve Jones argues that anytime you run a restore, you should run a restore with no recovery every time, in order to ensure that you're in the right place with the right backup and everything's set before you run the recovery. I'm not sure I agree. However, recovery is frequently the longest part of the process, so if you screwed up and you're Timmy, right, for the moment, not everybody's Timmy all day, every day, but all of us are Timmy at least at one moment or another. If you've screwed up, you can say, oh, wow, I've messed up, run the proper restore to get back to where you need to be and any log backups, and then run a recovery. So it makes some sense. Does that answer the question? Cool. Yes, sir?
What about breaking the differential chain? You just decide, if you're a bad person, you decide you're going to do a full backup, which is one right there.
Right.
But if you leave it on the server, you know, so you haven't taken it away, does that break the chain?
If you've got the backup, so if you've got that full, so you have the full backup still there, oh no, that doesn't break the chain, because if I go in there do the recover and I'm like, oh God, I don't know what happened. Oh look, there's another full backup. It's got a different date and time. Okay, let me try this. Run the restore, run the differential. Hey, we're off to go. Yeah, you're good to go, if that's available. Okay, well if not, no other questions, we're done. And thank you very much. Have a good day.